welcome to What's the L, focusing on today's current events.
And whether they are lessons or losses for the culture.
For the culture, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to CTN Media.
We know the narrative portrayed by mainstream media, and now we're here.
We're here to challenge, create, cultivate, control, change the narrative.
Your favorite tag team.
What's up? I'm your girl, Shay J, the interview guru.
And I'm your boy, Chris Cleave.
And it's time that we get in for the culture. Again, you are tuned into What's the L. We're going to talk about if these are lessons or losses for the culture. So share this out on your network and then comment. Let us know what you're thinking. Tell us if we're on, we're off, and who you're rocking with in today's discussion. Again, this is for the culture. We're excited to just go ahead and jump right in. Chris, there's a lot going on. There's a lot.
Yeah, I think we should basically start off by, saying our condolences to our fellow neighbors in Boulder, Colorado. It's something that you don't necessarily want to turn the news on and see, but that just goes to show that, it's not always about us. You know what I mean? There's things going on in people's lives. And at the end of the day, what the hell do we need a AR-15 for? You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. No, our condolences to all the families, friends, our whole community who's been affected by this mass murdering in Boulder, Colorado. This is right outside in our own backyard. So we definitely can feel the weight of it. And nobody wants to be going and doing their ordinary grocery shopping and not make it out of the store. So absolutely our condolences. The ages range from the victims, from as young as 20 all the way to 59. And so we absolutely give you our condolences, our love, and our prayers are with you and your families right here on CTN Media.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's time for us to talk about these L's. Are there lessons or losses for the cultures? Let us know in the comments what you're thinking. All right, let me start off with first and foremost. I think that this is a topic that it's in entertainment. Let's hit it off with entertainment first. Oh, go
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna do entertainment. So now this is my girl because I'm an old school. I love old school music. I love old school feels. So my question is, should artists stop fans from listening to their music for their benefit? Now you ask why I asked that. Let me tell you, Anita Baker, my girl Anita Baker, she has disclosed a battle that's currently going on. This battle is going on with her and her label. She's commenting that they are maliciously making sure that her music doesn't come out the right way, that the contract that she has, she doesn't rightfully own the masters, and they're not in her possession. So they're not paying her the right way. They're not making sure they're taking care of our girl, Anita Baker, who is an absolute legend. So you would think at this time, things are just in a great space. She's been in the game forever. So when you look at someone like this who's been in the game, we talk about copyrights. We talk about what it looks like to allow you to have your bodies of work. And then when you don't have your bodies of work, but yet your artists are tuning in, they're listening, they're rocking with you, but you're getting no money from this. You're not profiting at all. Do you say, hey, like Anita Baker, stop. Y'all don't support anymore. Don't listen because it's not supporting me. It's not supporting my household. It's not supporting what I'm doing. Chris, is this, what is this? Is a lesson, a loss for the culture? What are you doing with it? What are you saying? What do you think?
I think this is, we hear it all the time, Shay. Like we hear it all the time. You hear about all these artists from the 50s, 60s, 70s that they just wanted to get on. You know what I mean? Like they wanted their music out there. They're signing this paperwork that half of them had no idea what it was saying. They didn't have lawyers. And, they get put into this position. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but hey, guys, a contract is a contract. And it's one of those things like, we have to start learning. And I think they are a little bit more in the new school. You know what I mean? Like the new artists that are coming out are really being understanding that if I don't have a lawyer looking over this, if this isn't going to be beneficial to my career, which is why we have so many artists that are solo. So many.
And I think, Chris, you're hitting a key point. I think now artists are more like, I will own my own rights. I'll do my writing. I'll do my self-production, or I'll get on my friend's label, because these big labels, you can't really fight these big labels. I mean, when you're looking at somebody like Anita Baker, who miraculously outlived her contract, which is unheard of. I've never even heard of this happening. She's outlived the contract. And now you're going back and you can't rightfully get the masters and your copies and things that belong to you. I mean, artists definitely, I think, are being smarter now in this space. But when you have somebody like that who's been doing the work for so long, that I'm sure that the contract she's got, and they never seen her, you know, being around for this amount of time, what do you do?
And I think that is like, that's the hardest part, right? You know, the hardest part is that, you know, you work your ass off. You know what I mean? You work your ass off. You know, you have so many new artists sampling her music. She gets no, you know what I mean? No funds from that. You have, you know, people rewriting some songs that she's done. Like, so it's, you know, it's a shame. It really is a shame. And like, you know, it's a complete apology from somebody who is not in the music industry.
Yeah.
But it's, if you ask, is it a lesson or an L?
Or a loss? They're both L's, but a lesson or a loss.
But I mean, a lesson, it has to be a lesson. I mean, it can't necessarily be a loss for the culture, because it has to be something that we learn from. And I think that now these new artists that are coming in are learning from this. They're learning from all these artists who end up going broke, literally going broke, because they don't own their masters. They don't own their actual music. There's nothing that they can benefit off.
You're right, Chris. Man, this is so hard for me, because I feel like there's a lesson in all this, because just the artists are learning from it. But I see the other side of this being a loss for a great artist like Anita Baker, who now has to ask her fans to do something. I don't think you ever want to ask your fans, hey, stop supporting me. Hey, stop listening. Hey, like, that's a hard pill to swallow, to say stop. And then the fans that love her music, and you know, we don't have great timeless artists that are putting out music every day. So you're like, as a fan, and my thing is, as a fan, I want to make sure we're putting money in your pocket. So do I stop listening, or do I keep listening? And if you're a real Anita Baker fan, I feel like you're like, I don't know what to do. So I feel like this is a loss right now for the culture. We've been dealing with this too long, y'all. Get the lawyers, get them belly up with these lawyers, y'all.
There's two sides of the coin. It was a meme out the other day. It was just like, I was just about to clean, and I was going to turn Anita Baker on, and she
now my house has to look crazy. Right now, my house looks crazy. Audience, tune in. Let us know. Anita Baker is stopping her fans from listening to the music, not benefiting from her masters. Is this a lesson or a loss for the culture? What's the L stand for? We want to know what y'all feel. Go ahead, Chris. Hit them off with the next topic.
So what we're doing next, and you know, this is big, because we're going into politics, guys. We're definitely going into politics. So is Kamala Harris being silent, or is she being silenced? And this is just referring to the Andrew Cuomo sexual assault, you know, accusations. And I think, you know, accusations are coming from everywhere. Look in the sports world, you look in everywhere, you know, you look into politics, they come from all different places. But I think the issue is that Vice President Kamala Harris decided that she just wanted to remain quiet on these sexual allegations and misconduct scandal. But despite previously swiftly condemning former Democratic Senator Al Franken when the same thing happened to him. So, you know, what do you think, Shay? Like, I think when you get into politics, there is this misconception that you have to speak on everything. But I think when you do take a side, and I think history kind of repeats itself, or, you know, in that sense, to where you speak on one thing for when it's beneficial, but then when it's no longer beneficial, or when, you know, the lights are on you, then you don't speak. You know, there's a two-sided coin, but at the same time, it's like, you know, are they telling her to be quiet?
Man, Chris, I think that there's so many things within that, because like you said, the more you get into politics, it's not even just being in politics, but the higher up you get, the more that you are silenced. Yeah. So you don't really get to choose being silent. You were silenced because this is for our party line. This is the propaganda that we have to put forward. This is what we're doing. So you're silenced in so many spaces. And I think we're looking for a lot of politicians to be leaders when they're really not leaders anymore. They're now bot people that are fighting for one side or the other, depending on where they're at. They don't necessarily get to take a stance. As a leader, I ask you to keep your messaging consistent, because you have said you want to lead. Keep your messaging consistent. If I condemn, you know, men that have a sexual conduct one day, I'm going to condemn them the next day. That's what I'm going to do. As a politician, I think it's kind of asinine to believe that they can actually stick up for what's right and what's wrong, because they're a politician. They're playing a game, and it's a party line game. They're not true to, you know, well, this affects this community, so I'm going to stand up against it no matter what, whether I'm on the Democrat, Republican side. It's like, no, what does my party line need me to do? What are we pushing forward? You know, and so I know we all have our personal things with Kamala Harris. We're all, you know, there's different personal spaces with her being the Black woman, and who does she identify with and how she's supporting the community. But I feel like in this space, she has been silenced, and it's not an option for her to speak out. And so I'm careful sometimes when I condemn people about being a sellout or what they are not doing, because I understand the game we're playing. And sometimes you gotta know the game in order to know how we're moving around.
You gotta know it, but also you have to play it. You know what I mean? And you have to play it for the simple fact that we don't know what her next steps are. You know what I mean? And I hate to say it in that way, but it's the truth. Like, we don't know what her next steps are. She wants to run for president in the future. Will these comments or anything else kind of backfire on her? Now, I want to take it from the aspect of the community. Do you think us as the Black community, do you think we put too much pressure on our Black politicians to where they have to speak up to anything Black? Like it, and I don't necessarily think this is a Black issue, but I think that what happens is that when we have this Me Too movement, we have all these movements, we expect our people to kind of vocalize and give our perspective on what we think is right or what we think is wrong.
And I think there's one thing about asking people to come forward with perspectives. I think as a Black community, the number one thing is that there's not an unified Black agenda that has been given to the people that are in the position of power, that they have said that they're going to support and move it forward. So my thing is, I don't hold anyone accountable for the things that they have not said that they were going to do. And there has been no proof in the pudding that Kamala Harris is going to hold the Black community down. So I'm not really looking for anything from her personally. So I say, be careful who you're looking for and what you're looking for who, because just know who you have in those positions. Like, let's just be real about these faces, and let's know that some people are not, you know, skin folks aren't always kin folks. And some people are, you know, they're doing it for individual versus community. So I just say, keep your eyes and your ears open. If you ask me what's the L for this, I'm gonna say it's a lesson. It's a lesson for the culture. Yeah. It's a lesson about knowing what type of game we're on. I think knowing the foundation, knowing who you're dealing with, knowing the difference between influencers, leaders, politicians, people that just have money. Like, I think all those things, we got to start differentiating between those spaces and those people and what we're looking for.
Absolutely. Guys, please share this with your networks. Throw in what you might want to be a topic for our next show. Yeah. We know that, you know, there are so many things going on in the community, politics, and everything else, and we'd love to share some of your topics and speak about some of your topics on here. So, you know, put it in the comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about. But if we're going for lesson or a loss, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think this is a lesson. And I think it's a lesson because I feel like we look at people in politics, we look at entertainers, we just look at all of these people and we give them this higher stage than you necessarily have to. And we hold them to this pedestal that I think they're regular people just like us.
That they haven't even agreed to.
Exactly. You know?
It's like when you have, and I always say this for those of you, you know, it's for the culture. So we know how we talk about relationships. We have to be careful when you are expecting for something to happen when you haven't even had a clear conversation about expectations. Exactly. You know, it's like, I expect my man to A, B, C, or D, but you've never had an open conversation about what your expectations were and how they should be played out. So I think we've got to be careful about those things, like hold people accountable when they know what they're being held accountable for.
No, absolutely. And I think Kamala Harris is a very, very, very smart woman, very intelligent.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that this is something that was said, oh, give us your opinion. No, I think there's calculated moves, and I think we need to see and understand it that way. So, Shay, what's the
L, y'all? You're tuning into What's the L. We're seeing these are lessons or losses for the culture. Like Chris said, share this out on your network, drop it in someone's DM, and drop a comment. Ring that bell. Keep supporting independent Black media. This is why our perspective is important, because Black voices matter. Not just Black lives, but Black voices in Black media. Let's keep challenging the narrative. Absolutely. All right, so now we're going to go into something on the side where we call these family issues. We have all dealt with family issues inside of our own homes. If you say you haven't had a family issue, you're just not keeping it real. So we keep it real over here on CTM Media. We're going to say family issues. Do you owe a public apology for what has happened behind closed doors if you were a public figure? If you sign up to be a public figure, do you owe the world a public apology for what happened behind closed doors that affected no one else? We're going to go into this from the Kirk Franklin view.
Praise
Kirk
him.
Franklin. Praise him. Hallelujah. He leaked. There was a leaked phone call. Kirk Franklin didn't leak it. His son did. There was a leaked phone call where the listeners can hear Kirk Franklin threatening his eldest son. During the heated conversation, the audio call was shared on social media. You know, when you hear this conversation, it's literally a father and a son that you can tell there's layers of history in this conversation. There's layers of maybe a toxic relationship that has been had. There's layers of just relationships. I think when you look at the age range from a son to a father, this is his firstborn. This is a grown man that he's talking to. So this is not a child. This is a dude that's, I believe, in his 30s. So this is a grown man he's talking to. They're having a conversation, but it's not a dry conversation by any means. And some people wouldn't say it's a very Christian or holy conversation. But the conversation got heated nevertheless. And he kept trying to let his son know, like, yo, we're not having the conversation on your terms. We're having the conversation on my terms. Yep. I'm the father still here. So as this conversation got leaked, the whole world started to wait for an apology for Kirk Franklin. They asked where the apology was at. They condemned him for being a Christian, said maybe you're not the man you stand up to be. Chris, I had to ask you, when you listened to this story, when you found this story and seen this story, what did this make you think of? I mean, I know we keep it real about like every family has issues. You're just lucky when yours don't get leaked. Because I'm lucky if you heard some of the things that happen in these walls, you'd be like, well, ma'am, are you even a human being? Like, well, I don't know.
I mean, and that, I think that is the realest portion about it. You know, I think of myself just being a father at that. You know, obviously I'm not up there in fame or soon, maybe, but but I'm looking at it that, you know, there's just going to be things that my daughter and I just don't agree on. And I don't think that that is going to be anybody else's business. And I hate for the fact that, you know, especially in our culture, I feel like this happens a bunch where dirty laundry, because that's what they call it. Dirty laundry gets leaked. Something comes out where now it's you're pinning a dad against his child, when in all actuality, it's a level of respect. You know, respect goes both ways, but then it's also one of those things. I don't think Kirk Franklin did anything wrong. You know,
that's it.
Trying to maintain this relationship. I mean, I don't know what else to say. You know, obviously, if his son is so hell bent on not having this relationship, block the man.
Right. And that's the thing is Kirk Franklin, you know, shout out to Kirk Franklin for even opening up what that relationship has been like. He sat with a lot of different people in media. He sat with my girl Tamron Hall. He had the conversation of, we've had a turbulent relationship for years. We've went years without talking at some point. Like, my son has been in therapy. He's been in like the need that he felt to help you unpack his situation and say this wasn't a one-off. This wasn't Kirk on his ego trip. This is a relationship that we've been having toxic ups and downs. He didn't owe that to you guys. So kudos, Kirk, for you to even tell people what that's been like. I feel like at the end of the day, this is not his equal, it's a parent. And any parent and child conversation from any age, I feel like does not owe the public any apology. Because once again, it has nothing to do with the public. His son leaked it. We know how people get emotional. You leak things, you do things. Yeah. But I think we leave it there. And unfortunately, this is just a day where you see that someone is human. Hello, big red fire truck. He's human with human reactions to real conversations. Absolutely. And I don't know if he owes you any apology. Chris, is this a lesson or a loss for the culture?
I mean, I think this is, again, a lesson. I think this is a lesson. And it's just one of those things where it's just like, why do it? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be upset about it tomorrow. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You're still going to be Kirk Franklin's son, if you needed to know that, mister. And obviously, you're still going to have access to this credit card, or maybe that was what the issue was. You weren't getting the money you wanted when you wanted it. And I think it goes to be, you know, stop being a spoiled little brat. You know what I mean? Like, there may be other things, there may be underlying issues, and I get it, you know, but these are things that you can work out between your family, and I don't think it has to be everybody else's business, point blank. Period.
I'm with you on that, Chris. I think this is absolutely a lesson, and I say for all those people that are sitting there, be careful when you throw stones from glass houses to other glass houses. You know, I'm really careful what I judge people on, because like they say, if these walls could talk, what would they say from your own household? So when we're so quick to condemn people and ask for people to be the most you know, just to uphold a certain standard that you don't even hold yourself to. Let's be realistic. These are human people going through real life situations. And so while you're playing peeping Tom through their curtains, I hope you're cleaning out your house and sweeping under your rug and making sure you got all your ducks in a row. It's an absolute lesson. And I say, kids, be careful what you leak. Family business is family business. It's like Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Keep your mouth shut. Stop saying all that. Yeah. And make sure that we're just aware, hey, it's for the culture, y'all. Make sure you're aware. And like we're saying, this is why we have these conversations. We have them because it's important that we start creating new narratives. We started controlling narratives. We start challenging narratives that mainstream media are talking about, and we cultivate our narratives. Again, you can help us do that this weekend on Saturday. We will be having a For the Culture event. It is a fundraiser / launching of CTN Media, where we're going to talk to some badasses in Black media. We're going to talk about why Black media is so important. The Black Media Coalition is here to stay, and we're raising $50K to make sure we can expand Black media, because there's room at the top for each and every one of us. We need you to make sure you donate and be a part of changing it. Go to BBIProfessional.com or go on over to Fundly and find the Black Media Coalition. You can donate $5 to $5,000. It doesn't matter, but it does matter that you help keep this media up and moving and expand it. It's not just about us. We're bringing a lot of people to the table because, like we said, there's room for us all at the table. Let's make sure we change the narrative. Black media is mainstream media. With that being said, Chris, let's go into the next one. What's the L?
So this next topic is very near and dear to my heart because I am a die-hard Laker fan, but more than that, I was a die-hard Kobe fan. And it hurts to even talk about these things, but I think it happens everywhere. So, the issue that they're having right now is that should the Bryant family receive trademark rights for Mamacita and Mamba? It's something that Vanessa Bryant is pushing, the Bryant family, along with Nike. They're trying to help them as well. For ownership before the accident. And, I think this is really, it happens all the time. You know what I mean? It happens that some of the times we don't take care of things, especially something like this that just happens so sudden, so tragically. You know what I mean? Things may have been in place, but, it wasn't actually Kobe to finish off this ride. And now Vanessa has to go on and try to finish this to get the naming rights for Mamacita and for Mamba. The family is seeking to secure a trademark for both Mamba and Mamacita, his nickname. And I think the issue is like, there's just so many things that, his name was on. There's so many, issues where, what if someone else is trying to take this name and put it on something that can literally tarnish his reputation? These are the things that hurt the most, when you have someone who is a legend in his space. Where do you go from here? It's not only happening in, athletics. I think it happens everywhere. You look at Prince, you look at Michael Jackson, where people are fighting for estates. These are things that we have to do as a community, that we have to take care of before something tragically happens to us. Life is super short, making sure, and I'm a victim of this too, just not understanding, how important life insurance is, how important making sure that your kids' names are on everything, and making sure that you have things set up just in case afterwards. So, what do you think about this, Shay? I get emotional, so I don't want to keep talking about this thing, but
man, first of all, I just still give my condolences to his family and fans. We know how many fans love Kobe Bryant. We all loved him and his family. I think anytime you go through things like this, you're ultimately reliving the experience of not having a loved one there. When you look at this, like, this can be just it can be a preemptive measure where they're making sure that other people are not using it and putting it on merchandise, like you said, capitalizing on things that the legacy had nothing to do with them. Capitalizing on this, capitalizing on Mamba, the Mamba name, the Mamba Sports name. I know even the league that they were playing at, the girls were playing at, took the name off of it out of respect for the family. And so because you're looking at that, I feel like absolutely the family should have this right. I know that Kobe was an intelligent businessman. And so it's hard for me to see where this fell through the cracks, but he had so many brands and so many things going on inside of that. I can see how the name, when you're talking about Black Mama or Mamacita, you're talking about the different intricate ways you can do the name with the LLC, the INC. There's so many different things around that, how this could now be a issue. But I say that he had put so much weight into that name, and you don't hear Mamba mentality without hearing Kobe Bryant, without associating his legacy with that. So this is something I feel like his family should not have to fight for. I know the application's been filed with the U.S. Patent and Trademark, and it's pending right now. And so I just hope that they get this as a family. You just don't want to see your legacy and your family's name tarnished, even if it's not your last name, but things that go directly to your brand. And it's connected directly to the brand. And I feel like they should have full rights to this. if I say, is this a lesson or a loss for the culture? If they lose the name, this is an absolute loss for the culture. If they get the name, this is a lesson. If they don't get the name, it's just such a mixed emotion for me, because on one end, I'm like, we have to realize how to be better at, just making sure we're business airtight with everything. And then there's so many incidents. We look at Boulder, so many things that happen right away that you have no, you can't even foresee these things. And so many other business things you got to get together, because luckily, he had other things in place, so his family's doing well as far as being taken care of. This is a hard one, Chris. This is a hard one. It's extremely hard.
And I think it goes to say, make sure your business is tight. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that he did, but I mean, you just don't know. You know what I mean? And the fact that his wife, beautiful wife, has to, now have to fight for something that should be, justifiably his. You know what I mean? That's the worst part about it. You know what I mean? That his kids also have to go through it all over again. And then the assholes, the sheriffs who, kind of released the pictures, you're
right. She won that. I'm glad she won that too. Yes.
You know what I mean? Because then you have to go through that as well. And then you have to go through, the lawsuit against the pilot. Then you have to go and let's not even, stop there, where there's 8 other families that are, they have to go through the same exact thing. And because we have to now go through the trademark issue, that's one more thing on top of everything else. You know what I mean? So
let the family grieve. I mean, grief is already a hard journey, and we send our love to everyone out there grieving. We know there's a lot of things happening in the world, but some things you just don't want to deal with. So like Chris said, please, for our community out there that's listening and watching, do me a favor. Go get yourself some life support. On a serious note, make sure your kids are taken care of. Make sure your family's taken care of, because it's the most selfish thing is when people can't grieve properly because they don't have enough money to bury you and to give you a proper home going. So please, I beg you to take care of your family and friends and make sure that in death they're not hurting worse because you haven't taken care of your affairs.
Absolutely. And similar to you, if we really want to say, lesson or loss, I think it's both. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely both. But I think if they lose this, there should be petitions by everyone. You know what I mean? Like, and Nike's stepping up, and a lot of companies that he was working with, they're putting big time lawyers behind it, because it's something that it's something that they shouldn't even have to worry about. You know what I mean?
Chris, they shouldn't even have to worry about this. All the things going on, let these people grieve them. And when something's rightfully somebody else's, you just want to fight them tooth and nail. Exactly. Now, come on, y'all. Y'all tell us what you think out there, audience. What is this? What's the L? Is it a lesson or a loss for the culture? Let us know what the L is in this situation. Like we said, we think it's a lesson and a loss, but we want to hear from you out there. Just as a bonus, I got to bring this up real fast. Making absolute history as the wealthiest Black man in American history. $6.6 billion. Kanye West. Whoa. 6.6 billion. I mean, I think he's like triple what Jay-Z's worth right now. Like my mind's blown. I don't even, wait, what?
I'm not surprised though. I'm not surprised. The dude he's a genius. You know what I mean? He's a marketing genius. He's up there with Elon Musk. He is, when Kanye says something, people flock to the masses. And, I hate the fact that Forbes is trying to contest this shit. Like, Forbes, leave it alone. You know what I mean? Like, at this point,
they don't want to see us win.
They don't want to see us win. Like, stop it, please. You know what I mean? Live it up, Kanye. Go swim in the money. Go do what you got to do. And at the end of the day, I mean, support Yeezy, support anything Black, man. For all of our viewers, share this with your network, because these are the conversations that we want to have. We want to have these conversations. We want to push the narrative. We want to change the narrative. And similar to what Shay said, this weekend, any little bit counts. The Black Coalition, we're trying to put it together so that you guys have something to watch. You guys have something to listen to, but it's coming from people who look like you and go through the similar things that you're going through. And at the end of the day, we don't need any other media outlets telling us what's right and what's wrong. No, we'll tell you what's right or wrong.
We're about to control our narrative, y'all. And I give that one thing 100% to Yeezy. I know in our culture we have a love-hate relationship with Yeezy. But one thing I do say is that salute to this brother. Anytime you can be, from the 6.6 billion, or if he's 6 billion, or wherever that is for him, I think that it just shows us how much we can have, because he didn't come from money. He didn't come from this. His mom was a professor. When you look at like where he came from to where he's at, I hope somebody is inspired to be their absolute best and be the best version of you. My favorite quote is, the best project you'll ever work on is you. And I think you got to get consistent about that. That everybody is not going to be a Fred Hampton. Everybody is not going to be, a Sojourner Truth. Everybody is not going to be a Kanye West. Everybody is not going to be a Beyonce. Whatever that looks like for you, there is different parts of this system, and we need all of you playing for the greater. And what we need to see is people that look like us, not just surviving, but thriving. So thank you for the influence to be our ultimate best and to not stop dreaming and to reach for the stars and to make sure you guys do that. That's how you have to change the narrative. And you
work on your mental. Work on your mental. I mean, listen.
I hope he goes and gets some help if he needs that. Like,
if he's getting his help, do your thing. But at the end of the day, you can't call a man crazy that's making a bunch of money. I'll tell you that much. I'll be that if that's the case.
Chris said, I'll be that. And I need y'all to be that. And go ahead and let us know what's the L, lesson or loss. We hit you with some topics today. We want to know how you feel. Drop it in the comments. And like Chris said, let us know what you guys want to talk about. We're here for you. What's the L? Is it a lesson or is it a loss? Thank you for tuning in on CTN Media, where we are challenging, controlling, creating, cultivating, changing the narrative. Make sure you're going over to YouTube, subscribe, like, and share. Thumbs up us. Keep engagement. Keep supporting independent media. We appreciate you for our tribe. Until next time, peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace, y'all. What's the L?